What's up, fellow Americans, and welcome to Democracy Download. What if I told you the 2028 presidential race could come down to two very different versions for America? One, the heartland, J.D. Vance, a rising Republican voice, and the other, West Coast, Gavin Newsom, the governor from California. This isn't just about red versus blue. It's about who can win over the middle, energize their base, and win a winning coalition in a changing America. So let's dive in and take a look at my official 2028 electoral map prediction between Vance and Newsom. So let's just jump right on in. So first, let's give Gavin Newsom the states that he is most likely going to win based on past elections. So let's give him the entire West Coast, including Washington, Oregon, and the state that he currently governs, which is California. Jumping all the way over to the East Coast, we can give him Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. And then we can hop on back over to America, giving him Colorado, which has been shifting to the left based on the winning that Kamala Harris gave in 2024. She won by 350,000 votes. And then going on to 2020, where Biden won it by about 500,000 votes. But I do believe that Gavin Newsom is going to carry the state of Colorado in 2028. Now, jumping on over to J.D. Vance, the states that he is definitely going to win in 2028 if he is the Republican nominee. Basically, the entire middle America, including Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, this entire wall right here, and then also Nebraska's 1st and 3rd district. Also, I can give him states more in the middle: Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and then hopping on over to Florida, which has been leaning more right every single year in 2020, 2022, and 2024, where Donald Trump won Florida by 1,400,000 votes. Hopping back over to the 2028 election, where J.D. Vance does have a lead based on states that he is likely win. However, this race is definitely not over. Give the states that Gavin Newsom is probably going to win or likely going to win, including states like New York, which did take a massive shift to the right in 2024, where Kamala Harris did win it by 1,000,000 votes. But in 2020, Joe Biden did win the state by a little bit over 2 million votes. So now Gavin Newsom, the states that he is most likely winning, which also includes New Jersey, which did take a massive also shift to the right. But I do believe that Gavin Newsom is going to have a hold on that state in 2028. Also New Hampshire, which people are debating, is it going to be a 2028 swing state? I do not. I think it's going to take an even more shift to the left. It used to be a swing state in the early 2000s, 2000, 2004, and 2008, which were basically all won by Barack Obama in the elections that he ran in 2008, 2012, and then lost by Bush twice. And now we can hop over to J.D. Vance, the states that he is likely going to win, including Alaska, which did take a long time to call in 2024, which was one of the final states that pushed Donald Trump over the 270 mark, but also Texas, South Carolina, Ohio, Iowa, which some people did say was a swing state in 2024 towards the end of election. It indeed was not. Donald Trump did have a strong hold on that state right there. And then we can hop over to Virginia, which is definitely going to be a blue state. Was a pretty crazy watch in the 2024 election. Kamala Harris did win that state by 259,000 votes. Now, J.D. Vance is going... These are all the states that J.D. Vance is likely going to win. Gavin Newsom likely also going to win. Illinois, which includes Chicago, and then we can give Gavin Newsom Maine's 1st district. Now, hopping back over to J.D. Vance, we can give J.D. Vance, give Gavin Newsom Hawaii. I did forget about that state. Now, the states that we have left does look a lot like the 2024 election. I do believe that J.D. Vance is going to win Maine's 2nd district. Obviously, Gavin Newsom is going to win Maine at large. But these do look like the 7 swing states from the 2024 election, including Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Also, including Minnesota, which did take a massive shift to the right in 2024. Kamala Harris did win it by a little bit over 100,000 votes, but Joe Biden won it by over a little bit under 300,000 votes. So it did take a massive shift to the right. I do believe that Gavin Newsom will win that state just by a teeny tiny bit in the 2028 election, along with New Mexico. However, I do believe that in the 2032 election, these states, New Mexico and Minnesota, do have a good chance of turning to the right. But I say that these states are going to be in the left due to their Senate races. Both of them did elect Democrats, incumbent Democrats. So I do believe that these states will continue to be not found Democrat states, but slightly leaning towards the left. But J.D. Vance, I do believe that he will win the state of North Carolina that Donald Trump did carry in the 2016 election against Hillary Clinton and the 2020 election against Joe Biden. Donald Trump did win the state by a little bit over 100,000 votes, and in 2024, he also almost hit 200,000 votes, so I do believe that this state will be a swing state in the 2028 election. However, I do believe that J.D. Vance will carry on Donald Trump's legacy in the Tar Heel state, along with Georgia, which elected Brian Kemp multiple times. I do believe that Georgia will be a red state as it was in the 2024 election. It was a swing state. Donald Trump did win it by 115,000 votes. However, it was lost by Donald Trump in the 2020 election against Joe Biden by just under 11,000 votes. So now giving some states to Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has 225 electoral votes. J.D. Vance, 249. 270 obviously is the line to beat. I do believe that Gavin Newsom will win the state of Michigan. This is based on the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, that has a found base in Michigan, along with the Senate race in Michigan, which was won by a Democrat by 19,000 votes. I do believe that Michigan will be one of the tightest states won in 2028, but I do believe that Gavin Newsom will win the state of Michigan. Now, hopping back over to J.D. Vance, we are left with 4 states, which are Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. I do believe that these 4 states will be the closest in the 2028 election. Arizona is probably the closest race, was lost by Kari Lake in the Senate election and the governor election in 2020 and in 2022. I do believe that J.D. Vance will win the state of Arizona, as Trump did in 2024. However, I do believe that Gavin Newsom will have almost the entire blue wall, excluding Pennsylvania, which puts J.D. Vance at 260, Gavin Newsom at 266, and I do believe that J.D. Vance will win the state of Nevada, just as Trump did in 2024. However, Biden did win it in 2020, just over 40,000 votes, just under 40,000 votes, which puts J.D. Vance at 266, Gavin Newsom at 250, which again comes down to one state, and that is Pennsylvania. the same state that the same state that came down in 2024 with Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee and Donald Trump again as the Republican nominee. I do believe, excuse me for this, that these will, in that Gavin Newsom will win Omaha, giving him 1 electoral vote, and J.D. Vance 2 electoral votes. Now, J.D. Vance just needing 1 more state, same along with Gavin Newsom. However, I do believe that the 2028 election, if the 2 candidates were Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance, if it came down to the election today, I do believe that J.D. Vance will be the 2028 election winner, defeating governor currently of California, Gavin Newsom. J.D. Vance earning 287 electoral votes, passing 270 electoral votes needed to win. Gavin Newsom just falling a little bit short of that number. This is the 2028 election, hypothetical. If J.D. Vance was the Republican nominee, current Vice President of the United States, Gavin Newsom, Democratic nominee, current governor of the great state of California. Thank you guys so much for watching Democracy Download, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.